Hello and welcome to the radio room. On the bench, I've got a Yaesu FT817. This poor radio had a misadventure several years ago. Some batteries got left in it, and they made a mess. And in the process of trying to clean it up, or maybe when everything was leaking everywhere, we did. It did some damage to the radio, so it's pretty much dead. This is gonna be more of a video of whether we can even see if we can get this thing to work again. I'm gonna put some power to it and show you this thing does absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. No click, no nothing when I press the power button. So it's not even, it acts like it's not even getting power to the portion of the radio that would make the switch work. So I'm hoping that the damage is pretty close to where the power's coming in. I think it might have some etch traces, some damage traces. I'm not really sure. But this is kind of one of those, let's see if we can even get it to work, if it wants to. It's a little dirty. Probably clean it up a little bit as well. Yeah. It's for all intents and purposes, it's dead right now. But let's see if we can bring it back to life. Let's take it apart, take a look at the inside of it, and see what we got. So I'm gonna go ahead and let me take the radio apart. It's gonna take a little bit of doing. So instead of force me dismantle it, let's let our next part of the video be once I've gotten it opened up a little bit. See what's figure out how to open it up. See what's on the inside of it, and we'll see if we can find out if anything can be done to it. I'll be right back. Okay, so I do have the covers off. Just to give you an idea, the batteries normally sat right here, and they had exploded. There was an unsuccessful attempt at trying to clean the corrosion out of here. What I believe happened is when I was trying to clean this out real carefully with first a little bit of vinegar. I believe I was using a Q-tip or something. I think some ran down and went through right here. Get this up here where you guys can see it. Went down through this hole here, which went to the other side of the board. Or actually, it might have actually went through this hole here. Went through to the other side of the board. I'm not sure if y'all can tell. Let me see how close I can get this to the camera. Right, especially in this area right down in here, you can see what looks like a bunch of corrosion or something. There's also a little bit on this connector here. I'm sure you guys can tell that quite well in the camera. And a little bit suspecting there's some right here on this connection here. So what I'm thinking possibly is that it got into something in this area. I'm not sure if it's damaged much of the other board. I think what we need to do is get this board out of here and take a look at the other side of it and see how bad the other side of it is. These are unfortunately double-sided boards, so that does pose a little bit of a problem, because there are tiny little vias in this board that connect to both sides. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna see if I can't go ahead and remove this board. Carefully. First I need to remove these ribbon connectors, which these should just pop up like that, and then that slide out. And then there's also one right here which looks like it's just a press in. I don't see a lock on it, so I think it's just a press in. It's just pushed down in there. Well, yep, it's just pushed down in there. I'll also need to remove these two, and that does have some corrosion on it, as well as this one, which doesn't look too bad. And let me remove the mounting screws, and let's see what's on the other side of this board. Sorry about that. Pause there. I was turning off some other radios in case they really came to life. And this radio, it doesn't work now. So it's either going to be we can figure out a way to fix it and make it work again, which even then might really turn into a, well, it might not be pretty, I don't know. Or it might be just one of those, it's just not going to get fixed. It's going to be beyond repair. Or we're going to try and repair it and end up blowing the thing up in the process. Don't know. Alright, acts like there's still something holding it down. I don't see any screws. It could have some pins right here possibly that are coming up from the bottom. So let me see if I can't do something here. I'm going to gently pry up on this board. Yep, it looks like there's probably some pins or something that go through the other side that are right through that connector. I'm going to take this off. It's already got a piece broke off of it. Something's still holding it. Ah, it's the wires coming through from the other side for the batteries. And that gets the board out of the way. And it does have some corrosion in this area through here. Right through here. Pretty heavy right there. It's actually on a capacitor right there. So let's see where we're at here. Here's the connection for the power plug. Got some pretty heavy corrosion right in this area right here. And that's on this IC here, it looks like. Maybe we could reflow that. I'm thinking maybe if we can get in here with something and clean some more stuff off. not looking real promising in here, guys. I'm seeing a lot of corrosion. A lot of corrosion. And a lot of really tiny surface mounts. Rust right there. This radio may just totally be done. I'm seeing, the more I look, the more I see. Let me pause a minute. I'm going to take a look at a schematic and a board layout real quick, kind of see what some of these components are that look kind of bad. Okay, so we're back again. I've looked at the schematic a little bit, the parts layout a little bit, did a little voltage testing in this portion of the board right here, and I have 13.8 volts getting through past this capacitor. There is a diode right down in here, right there, that I'm getting voltage onto both sides, and then I get voltage into this side of this EMI filter. It's electromagnetic interference. It's basically kind of a choke, keeps any HF or electromagnetic interference that might be picked up on the power cord out of the radio. And I get it to this side, and if I go to the other side of the board, I have 13.8 volts at this pin. I do not have 13.8 volts at this pin. All this is a coil between here, just an inductor. So what I'm thinking is that the corrosion, and it looks pretty nasty, right up in there. I don't know if you can see that right there, but it's pretty darn nasty up in there. I'm thinking it actually ate through or lost connection on this side of that filter. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, just to see if this is going to work, I might blow the radio up at this point. You know, the radio doesn't work. This is more of just a curiosity type thing. I'm going to jumper from here to here with a small piece of wire. The reason why I'm doing that is it won't have the filtering across here, but it will connect this to here, from here to here, and see if we can get power to the rest of the radio. I don't know. It might blow up, but I'm going to find out. So let me go ahead and find a small piece of wire, and I'll solder that in there, and I'll be right back. It's going to take me a few minutes to probably find a little piece of wire and I'm just going to tack that across there, and then we'll see. I'll probably put the board back in the radio, and we'll see if it even turns on. So we'll be right back. So, Murphy showed back up in the radio room. And if you notice there for 2 or 3 seconds there, it was pretty darn quiet while I was reviewing the video. And found out apparently the microphone quit right about that time. So, yeah. Well, I can't really re-record everything I just did without undoing it. So, what I'm going to try here is I'm just going to play the video for you on screen, and I will make commentary as the video goes on. Hopefully I'll cover everything that I hopefully said in the video, and we'll take you through the rest of this video with me making commentary and narrating it, so to speak. So let me get over to the other screen here, and we will get to it as soon as I get to the right video. Right there. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so we'll just start right here. This is right where we just left off, so we'll see if we can't get it to so that you guys can see what happened through the rest of the project. Alright, so right here I've put in the jumper between the 2 pins that I was talking about earlier, and kind of bent them over, made sure that they weren't touching anything, resting on any of those surface mount components. And we're going to look at putting the radio back, or the board back in the radio, and trying to make sure that everything is still going to go together. I did clean that one coaxial jack real quick, putting the battery wires back through the chassis right here, and that one right there, the one I just pulled up, is the one that I cleaned a little bit. Some alcohol, some QD or quick dry contact cleaner I sprayed in there and kind of scrubbed it around best I could with a Q-tip, and trying to line those 3 pins back up to go into the little jack that connects the board on the other side as well, and got it back in there. I will have to, when this is all said and done, take the radio back apart anyhow. There's some shrouding that goes around the mic connector I need to put back in, but we'll go ahead and get the screws in at this point. And we're putting the board back in here. I'm going to see if the radio will even work at this point. We did jumper that EMI filter, which I believe has a broke contact on the input side, on the positive side of the filter. And we'll see if this will at least get the radio to work. And I think this is our last screw. Get the ribbon cable back in, so I get that little tab lifted up so I can slide it in there. These just slide in, and then you lock down the top while you're keeping pressure on it. Just make sure it captures it. So that's in. This back one's a little harder. It's kind of got all them folds in it. It's in a tough spot to get your fingers into. It takes a little bit of pressure, and you got to go straight in order to get it to go in. So I'm fumbling with it a little bit. And we got that back in there. Hook up the 2 coaxials. Make sure they're seated good. Get that one back in. and hopefully that's all we should have to hook up. Everything looks pretty good. You'll notice the shroud around the mic connector and the headphone connector isn't there in there right now. I'll have to put that back in at a later time, so you can't see through the radio. And hooking the power cable back up. And we'll go ahead and see if it's doing anything. And looky there, we have power and the radio came on. Definitely see if that one filter is still available. I found it on DigiKey. So I might either try to replace that or maybe see if I can't take that out and reconnect that one side of it again. I don't know how easy that's going to be. That's a pretty tiny little spot in there to work. But if not, I might just try to fix it or replace it. The radio is working the way it is. It just doesn't have as much EMI filtering in it as right now. But I could at least maybe even take a toroid and wrap the cord around right up close to the jack, the power cord, and that might keep some EMI out of the radio. Of course, we're going to have to do some cleaning up on this radio since it is working. One thing I probably need to do is probably get the covers back on here and hook an antenna up to see if it's actually going to receive anything. I really wish I hadn't lost the audio on this. I cannot remember everything I said right here. And this radio, it might still have some faults afterwards. I don't know. But it does come on at this point. So we'll go ahead and get the speaker hooked up, set the cover back on, see if it even has any noise come out of it. And throw the bottom cover on too. A big space right there normally has a big door over it so you can access the batteries. And I know you can't hear, but at this point it does have some audio coming through it, some static. It's shifting through the bands. It's tuning back and forth. And about this point in time, I decided I would. At this point, I was wrapping that around there to see if there was any noise kind of coming in there. There was a birdie at 7240. I'm trying to tune back and forth. That knob right there it's either dirty or something. It's not tuning very well through that particular knob. I'm gonna stick a screwdriver in here and see if we can get some more noise. Didn't really help much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause this portion of the video, and I'm going to go back to actually live on the radio and let y'all hear that it is working. So let me get out of here for a second, and we'll see if I can't get back over, and I'll pause the video for a second, get the radio hooked back up good, and I'll be back in just a moment with some audio from it. Okay, so right here we got it on 14.300. It's the Maritime Mobile Service Net, and it is hearing pretty good. Turn around a little bit. This is through an external speaker. I did have to do some cleaning on the external speaker jack.
7-3s and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you.
But as you can see, the radio is working. In the previous video, that you're not going to get to see here
I caught a whole bunch
because we didn't have audio. I did make sure it was transmitting. It did transmit. Looked like about 5 watts out. It's a 5-watt radio. It had plenty of RF to run the auto tuner. So the radio's alive. I might see about seeing if I can't find that EMI filter and replacing it. Other than that, go through, maybe touch up a few solder joints that look like they kind of gotten corroded. Hopefully I can do that without the traces lifting or falling apart. But might see if I can't reflow some solder joints that look kind of bad in there. Hopefully if I replace the EMI filter, it's not going to damage the trace that's leading up to it. It looked really, really corroded. And in the future, this radio might still have further problems from that corrosion. Future failures of some traces or something on the board might come up, but it's working right now. So we'll just go with that. It was a dead radio, and we brought it back. So thanks for sitting through the video here. Not too long of one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Some of the work that was in there, I didn't want to just have sitting there with dead space. Of course, half the video I just made had dead air. But I hope that kind of was at least entertaining. Wasn't too instructional in this video, but this video is more for entertainment. See if it would work again, and it seems to be working pretty good. So, bye for now.